I know you think motivation is a real cheat code, but that's exactly why you keep starting over every single Monday. Discipline, on the other hand, is what gets the job done. Discipline is not just about checking boxes, it's how you navigate major life transitions without losing yourself. Maybe you're rebuilding after a breakup, switching careers, or finally stepping into the woman that you know you are meant to be. Whatever it is, discipline isn't just about getting things done, it's the foundation that makes rebranding even possible. 10 years ago, I ran a half marathon. Now, after 2 babies, I'm training for another one. And listen, I have been promoted all throughout my career. I also quit to become an entrepreneur. Not because I had superhuman willpower, but because I had systems that made discipline super easy. And today I'm putting you on game. By the end of this video, you are going to have the exact blueprint to step into your discipline girl era so you can finally stay consistent, stop second guessing yourself, and actually see results. And we will be breaking it all down into the 3R framework and 4 game-changing strategies. So grab your tea, get comfy, because we're about to level up. Chapter 1, Discipline is your superpower. What is discipline? Discipline isn't about being strict or robotic. It's about self-respect. It's the ability to control your emotions, distractions, and stay committed even when you don't feel like it. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's power, essentially. But why do we always fall short? Let's be real. Have you ever said to yourself, I'm just not disciplined, or I don't have the willpower like that? That's not actually the truth. The real issue is that our brains crave comfort, scrolling, procrastinating, putting things off until we are actually ready. It's all easier than doing the hard things. But guess what? Your discipline error, it doesn't rely on feelings. It is built in systems that keep you on track even when you don't feel like it. That's why we have to train discipline like a muscle. Because honestly, we were not raised in quitting. Our grandmothers, our mothers, our fathers, discipline isn't our DNA. We just need to tap in. Now let's talk about why discipline feels so hard sometimes. Our brains, it's constantly fighting between two things: the prefrontal cortex, which is the responsible part, and the limbic system, which is the chill part, the part that's trying to keep you in your comfort zone. It's like a daily tug of war between your future self and then you right now. But here's the kicker. Every single time you delay gratification, your brain starts to release dopamine, literally rewiring itself to find satisfaction in self-discipline. That's why those small wins, they matter. Every single time you choose discipline over comfort, you are training your brain to work for you versus against you. Chapter 3, the 3R frame for unstoppable discipline. Let's break it down. When your life is shifting, staying disciplined comes down to 3 things: reset, reframe, and reinforce. This is how you train your mind, adjust to change, and make discipline your new default. Too many people try to force discipline onto a life that no longer fits. They struggle, they burn out. They say, I guess I'm just not disciplined. But you don't lack discipline, you lack systems. And that's what we're about to fix. So starting with the first R, reset, commit to the process. Life changes, your discipline plan has to change with it. Maybe you're starting a new job, you just got married, had a baby, or trying to rebuild from a major setback. Whatever it is, you cannot expect the same routine that worked before to work now. That's why the first step is to reset. Instead of beating yourself up while life shifts, you take control and design a new path that fits where you are today. But here is the thing. Resetting isn't about planning. It's about tenacity. Because once you make a plan, you have to stick with it, even if motivation fades. So let's talk about a tenacity challenge. I suggest you to take one habit, commit to it for 7 days. No excuses, no matter how hard, how tired, how busy, how motivated you feel, stick to it. The goal: to strengthen your follow-through muscle. Number 2, the second R. Next, you have to reframe what discipline actually means. Too often we see discipline as strict, exhausting, or something that is forced upon us. But discipline is actually the best form of self-care. It's how you protect your peace, how you secure your future, how you show up for the version of yourself that you are becoming. And here is where most people struggle: delayed gratification. Your brain is wired for comfort. We want results ASAP, but we also want to scroll through social media for hours. We want to be in shape, but we also want to eat all the snacks. We need to create a delayed gratification strategy. The next time you feel the urge to procrastinate, try the 30-minute rule. Wait 30 minutes before giving yourself a distraction. If the urge is still there, fine. but most times it fades, and you would have just trained your brain to value patience over impulse. And finally, once you reset your plan and reframed your mindset, the last step is to reinforce your discipline until it becomes second nature. And how do you do this? This is obviously the most challenging for most people. You might start strong, but you don't have a system to keep you consistent. The easiest way to do this is through repetition. The more you do something, the easier it is. You have to habit reinforce. Use habit anchoring or habit stacking. Attach discipline to things that you already naturally do. After I pour a glass of water, I write down 3 priorities. Before I stroll on social media in the morning, I complete a small task. I like to make up my bed. While winding down at night, take 5 minutes to reflect, journal or type notes. Chances are you already have your phone in hand. Discipline isn't something you get, it's something that you practice daily. Every single time you choose the discipline path, you make the next choice so much easier. And I know this works because I have lived this. After having my first baby, I mean, that was a struggle, deep sleep deprived, eating whatever, barely recognizing myself in the mirror. My workout routine was chaotic at best. I was squeezing in exercises whenever I could between feedings, napping, and nothing was sticking. The scale wasn't moving. Then I hit a breaking point. I knew I had to do something completely different and maybe a little extreme, so I signed up for a half marathon. Not because I was ready, but because I needed a commitment that would force me to show up differently. I needed a challenge. I needed to build my confidence up and bring me back to life. What I didn't realize though at the time that decision made me put the entire 3R framework into action. The first thing I had to do was reset because the way I had been moving, I had been approaching discipline. It was not working for me. I had to stop waiting for the perfect time and I had to start creating a new system that was my reality. That meant coordinating with my husband on my training schedule, mapping out my runs like appointments, or committing no matter how exhausted I was. But resetting wasn't just enough. I had to push through even on the days that I didn't feel like it. That's where tenacity came in. Those early morning runs after I had just woken up at 3 a.m., all I wanted to do was stay in bed. But every single time I showed up, even when I didn't feel like it, I was strengthening my abilities to follow through. And that follow through, it literally bleeds into me every single day, every part of my life. The next shift, I had to reframe discipline as self-care and not punishment. Before I saw it as restricting myself, I had to start seeing it as an investment in myself. That meant making the hard choices, even when it wasn't easy. Those late night wind downs, watching Netflix with my husband, those had to stop. I had to train myself to pause and think, will this serve the body that I am trying to build? Will I be fresh in the morning? I stocked up my fridge with sparkling water because I knew my future self would thank me. And the last piece, reinforcement. Because if I wanted this to last, it had to be more than a one-time decision. I had to become who I was. I made discipline automatic by habit stacking into my daily routine. Early bedtime routine supported my training. Meal prep every Sunday so I didn't get off the unhealthy track. Limit my alcohol intake. Laying out my workout flows so I had no excuses. The more I repeated these small habits, the easier they became. And eventually, I didn't have to force myself to be disciplined anymore. It was just part of my identity. The transformation wasn't immediate, but it was undeniable. As I consistently applied reset, reframe, and reinforce, the weight began to fall off. I noticed myself becoming stronger and more toned. I was running longer distances. The biggest change wasn't physical, though. It was mental. Discipline had become a part of who I was, not just something I was trying to do. And that was honestly the real goal. Small, consistent choices gradually transform who you are into what you are capable of achieving. That is when you start to enter your discipline girl era. Chapter 3, making discipline a part of your lifestyle. Let me ask you something. If discipline is your love language to yourself, are you going to keep ghosting you? This chapter isn't about temporary fixes or motivational hacks. It's about creating sustainable systems that make discipline feel less like a struggle and more like second nature. Let's transform discipline from something that you do into something that you are, starting with setting clear goals. The journey to discipline begins with clarity. Vague intentions like I'll exercise or I'll be more productive gives your brain no clear target to aim. Your mind thrives on specificity and measurable progress. The psychology behind small wins is really fascinating because each time you complete a micro goal, your brain releases dopamine, which creates a positive feedback loop. The small victories stack up, building momentum that carries you through the tougher days. This is why successful people focus on progress and not perfection. Instead, saying, I'll read more, commit to 5 pages every night. Or instead of, I'll save money, transfer $20 every Friday. These concrete actions leave no room for negotiation with yourself. A simple but powerful practice is tracking your progress visually. When you physically mark your accomplishments, whether it's journaling, an app, or a calendar, you create tangible evidence of your discipline. This visual reinforcement becomes incredibly motivating when you look back and see how far you've actually come. Step 2, create new habits. Turn discipline into your default. Once you've established clear goals, the next step is to build automatic behaviors through habit information. Remember habit stacking in chapter 2? Over time, these connections strengthen until the linked behaviors feel inseparable. Many people sabotage their habits without even realizing it. Common mistakes include setting unrealistic expectations, trying to meditate for an hour when you just start, or lacking environmental cues. You hide your journal instead of it being visible, or not planning for obstacles. We expect perfect consistency during high stress periods, but the key is designing habits that account for your real life, not idealizing a version of it. Number 3, build routines that work for you. Habits are the building blocks, but routines are the architect that hold the disciplined life together. A well-designed routine eliminates countless small decisions that drain your willpower throughout the day. I talk about discipline and motherhood a lot because that is where I feel most disciplined in my life, literally right now. And so when I had my first baby, I was completely unprepared with how reactive my life would have become. I stayed up late because I was the only time I had me time, but then I would be exhausted when the baby woke up at 5 a.m. I skipped meals. I didn't drink water. I gradually would start to lose touch with who I was. But by the time my second baby came around, I knew something had to change completely. I became almost militant about my sleep schedule. 8 p.m. bedtime, no negotiations. At first, it felt like I was missing out. Friends would text at 9 p.m. The shows I wanted to watch aired at 10 p.m. But I committed to protecting my energy through constant sleep. The transformation was impactful. After 3 weeks, I started waking up before the kids, giving space to literally center myself. My patience improved, my creativity returned. That one disciplined choice created a ripple effect, improving everything from parenting, my relationships, through work performance. This taught me that discipline isn't just about white knuckling through hardships. It's about intelligently designing your environment and scheduling to support your highest priorities. The structure actually created freedom by ensuring my basic needs were consistently being met. Number 4, forgive and move on. Even with the best intentions and systems, you will have days where the discipline falters. And this is where many people derail completely. Not because they missed once, but because of how they respond to missing once. The guilt cycle is a common trap. You miss a workout, you feel guilty, you beat yourself up, you feel worse, you seek comfort, often in ways undermining your goal. Then you use failure as evidence that you can do it. This negative spiral can undo weeks of progression. People in their discipline era aren't perfect, but they are resilient. They understand that consistency matters more than perfection. This is where the never miss twice rule becomes super invaluable. If you miss a day, simply ensure you don't miss the next one. This simple mind shift focuses from the past now to the present. Remember that forgiveness isn't just a necessity, it's a strategic approach to maintaining long-term discipline. Self-compassion has been scientifically shown to increase motivation and personal accountability, whereas self-criticism tends to reinforce avoidance and behaviors. Lastly, reward yourself. Delayed gratification in action. We talked about delayed gratification as part of the 3R approach of discipline, but strategic rewards are equally important for sustaining it. Your brain evolves in environments where resources are scarce and immediate reward were necessary for survival, but consciously building rewards into your discipline practice, you work with your neurochemistry rather than against it. The dopamine feedback loop is crucial here. When you accomplish something meaningful, then reward yourself, your brain creates a positive association with the disciplined behavior. Over time, the activity itself becomes rewarding as a neural pathway and strengthens. Effective rewards should be proportional to the achievement, personally and meaningful, and ideally non-contradicting to your goals. Some examples here would be after completing a week of meditation, buy yourself a new candle, or after you finish a major project at work, take the afternoon off. Even after a month of consistently exercising, invest in new workout clothes. The timing matters here too. Small rewards work well for daily habits, while large rewards can be great for significant milestones. But what's most important is that you consciously connect the reward to the discipline action. I'm enjoying this because I committed to my practice. This intentional rewarding system gradually trains your brain to value long-term satisfaction versus immediate gratification, therefore making it more enjoyable and sustainable. As you implement these 4 strategies, setting clear goals, building routines, practicing self-forgiveness, and rewarding yourself, discipline gradually shifts from something that you force yourself to do into something that you simply are. The initial effort gives way to the momentum, and once you require, conscious thought becomes your natural way of being. Remember, this journey isn't linear. There will be setbacks, there will be adjustments along the way, but with each day of constant practice, you are literally rewiring your brain and reshaping your identity. The question transforms from how do I enter my discipline era to how could I live any other way? Final steps, locking in your discipline girl era. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this. Discipline is how you show up for you. The journey we mapped out is clear but powerful. First, we reframe discipline as the ultimate form of self-respect and not punishment, but empowerment. We built the 3R framework, training your tenacity muscles, practicing delayed gratification, and embracing consistent repetition. From there, we created sustainable systems, setting specific goals, habit stacking, and building routines, forgiving yourself and rewarding yourself. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Even on days when everything feels hard, simply showing up for yourself is a victory in itself. What's one discipline habit that you are committing to today? Drop it in the comments below and put it in writing to make it real. You're not just watching this video, you are making a decision today. You are stepping into your discipline girl era, so welcome. And listen, this isn't about getting more done. It is about becoming the version of yourself who doesn't just dream but also executes, the version of you who shows up, who follows through, who becomes exactly who you say you are about to be. Let's build together. Thank you for joining. I am Kaylin. If this video gave you the extra push, hit the like and subscribe button. Send this to your homegirl because we are not gatekeeping discipline. Oh, and if you want to go even deeper into staying consistent, I got you. My next video that releases on Friday will be how to create personalized morning routines that set you up for success every single day. So make sure you subscribe, hit the links, and make sure you get alerted. See you next time. Bye.